Playoff football is back in the Mile High City, and the Broncos were back to prepare for the Buffalo Bills for their first home playoff game since 2015 when Payton Manning and Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware in the no-fly zone took down Tom Brady to send them to Super Bowl 50, and we know how that game ended. And the Broncos are back at practice to prepare for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, and some great news for the Broncos. A lot of Broncos are back on the practice field. Guys that did not play for the past couple of weeks are back, most notably Dre Greenlaw. Welcome back, Dre. He is expected to play this week, and Sean Payton said it's good to have a healthy Dre Greenlaw back, so that's one piece of good news. Other guys that were back, John Franklin Myers, he missed the final game of the season. He was back for practice today. I expect him to play. Garrett Bowles got a little banged up in Week 18. He was practicing on the field. And then Broncos got a guy from injured reserve designated to return. That's Lucas Krull, has not played in a couple of months, and he was back on the practice field. The Broncos opened his window to return, so he has 21 days to come back on the active roster. Could be a little playoff boost for the Broncos, but there were still a couple of guys that were not back this week. And unfortunate news, J.K. Dobbins did not practice today. That's no surprise. We really didn't expect him to come back until potentially the AFC Championship game, so it's pretty much official that he will not play this week. So that means R.J. Harvey, Jaleel, and Tyler Bidet are going to be leading the Broncos' run game, which is crucial this week because the Bills' run defense is not good. So that's an area where the Broncos can take advantage of. And one more guy that did not practice today, Brandon Jones. Not a surprise, but we found out from Sean Payton after practice that it's highly unlikely that Brandon Jones will be back at any point during this playoff run for the Broncos, even if they make the Super Bowl. I know there was a report out there that said he might be able to come back, but Sean Payton pretty much shut that down today. But you think the Broncos are banged up with those two guys? Look at the Buffalo Bills. Holy cow. They have a list of injuries, and it starts with their top man, Josh Allen. Josh Allen was limited in practice today. He's dealing with a foot, a knee, and a finger injury. I mean, head, shoulders, knees, and toes for this guy. He is going to play on Saturday, but banged up as can be. And speaking of banged up as can be, the Bills' receiver room, they have gone through injury after injury after injury, and another injury hit them today as they started practicing for the Broncos. Tyrell Shavers tore his ACL. It was announced today. And this adds to the room that has already been injured. They've had Gabe Davis, he tore his ACL this week. Joshua Palmer got put on IR as well. So they are decimated in the receiver room going up against this great Broncos pass defense. That's going to be an issue for them. They do have one piece of big news for them that's fortunate for the Bills. Ed Oliver, arguably their best defensive player, was back today, and he is expected to play. But overall, the Broncos are much healthier than the Bills going into this game, and also much more well rested because the Broncos, they were watching the Bills beat the Jags on their couch this week while the Jags were out on the field playing against the Jags, the Bills were on the field playing the Jags, barely getting that win on Sunday. This was the first opportunity that we've had to talk to Sean Payton and the Broncos since they learned their opponent will be the Buffalo Bills. And Sean Payton, really, he started at the top. He has all the respect in the world for the Bills head coach McDermott, and a lot of respect there from the history to what he brings to this team now. And then, of course, tons of respect in this Broncos building for Josh Allen and everything he does. Bo Nix said there's a reason that he's the reigning MVP. And Pat Surtain, I thought, had a very interesting thing when talking about what this Bills offense does, specifically Josh Allen. And he said the number one thing we need to do is eliminate the second chance opportunities that Josh Allen typically has. And the Broncos have a lot of film on this Bills team because they played them last year in the playoffs, but of course this game was in Buffalo, and now this one in Denver. And it's interesting because that was last year's team, but Courtland Sutton said he still has watched this game twice, and he's going to watch it again because he said it's very beneficial to watch last year's Broncos team go up against this Bills team. Even though they're slightly different teams, it's still the same scheme, still most of the same players for the Bills. So Courtland Sutton and the Broncos are really going to use last year's film to help them this year. And I'll tell you what, the Bills are pretty much the same team as they were last year, as they are this year. The Broncos are the team that has gotten a lot better. So that's why they're hosting this game, and the Bills have to go on the road. And this is the Broncos' first home playoff game in a decade. And I can tell you what, this Broncos building is so thrilled and pumped to have this game here. The players can't believe what the atmosphere is going to be like. The Broncos have hosted 15 divisional round playoff games in Denver. Try to wrap your mind around that. That's pretty incredible. But they haven't had one in a decade. And the players and Sean know how pumped this crowd is going to be. Pat Surtain said he can already feel the electricity that's going to be in that stadium. Bo Nix said he believes it's going to be even a notch above what they've had because it's a playoff game as of recent. But Sean Payton continues to have a message for the fans. He's been coaching the fans up recently, and he has one more tip for you. He says the fans need to be the loudest right when the Bills enter the huddle till they're out of the huddle, not when they get to the line of scrimmage. Of course, he still wants you to be loud then, but right when you get in the huddle, he wants the fans to be the loudest they can be. And he says there's going to be about 65 snaps that the Bills have on offense, so he needs 10 seconds for 65 times from this crowd, from the start of the game till the end of the game. Sean's really made it clear that the fans do have an impact on the game, and they can help make sure that there's an AFC championship game here 8 days from Saturday when they play the Buffalo Bills. And another big thing that's emphasized playing at home, playing off the bye week, is a fast start. Bo Nix talked about it. Sean Payton preached about it. They can't be late getting to this game despite having the bye week. They need to start fast. They need to ride the energy of the crowd and the momentum that the crowd will bring to this game. So expect a fast start. That's what the Broncos are really looking for, and they're looking for you guys to be as loud as possible. Bo Nix said he expects it to be, quote, extremely loud, and Courtland Sutton said it's very important to get this home game. They got this home game. Now capitalize on it. Broncos are underdogs in this game, and get this, it's just the second time in history that the number 1 seed has been an underdog in the divisional round. Do the Broncos care? Depends on who you ask. Some people, Sean Payton, Bo Nix, Courtland Sutton, say, nope, don't care at all. Doesn't impact us at all. Sean Payton said, we don't pay attention to that. Yeah, some other guys, though, Pat Surtain, Jonathan Cooper in the locker room, who say, yeah, that's disrespectful. We do pay attention to that. That does give us some fuel to the fire. So it depends on who you ask on if the Broncos care about that. The line is kind of fluctuating. One day, it's Broncos are favored by 1. The next day, Broncos are underdogs by 1, and we know Bo doesn't care. He calls them the overdogs. And final thing, make sure to hit us with a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel. That really helps us, and also it gives you the most up-to-date Broncos news. We are out here at every practice. We're out here at every single game, whether it's home or away, for as long as this Broncos playoff run goes. And we're here for you in the off-season as well, covering everything Broncos and Colorado sports. So make sure to hit us with that like and subscribe. The final thing, Von Miller made his pitch to be a Denver Bronco for 1 more year. This morning on his Free Range with Von Miller podcast show, he said, quote, I would love to be a Denver Bronco next season. And he said he's okay with being a role player behind Nick Bonito, behind Jonathan Cooper. He said he's here to help the Broncos in any way he can. He's just looking for 2 sacks and willing to come off the bench. So that's a storyline for the future, because the Broncos are planning and for a playoff game this week against the Buffalo Bills. We'll see if they can get their first home playoff win, actually just first playoff win in a decade, since Peyton Manning and Von Miller himself were hosting the Lombardi Trophy after Super Bowl 50. Stay tuned. We're going to be here all week out here at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit. Hit us with a thumbs up, and we're here to provide you with the best Broncos news.